Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Mindset Check. Today we have Pete Middleton on. He's a successful entrepreneur and real estate agent out here in San Diego. He's definitely somebody that we need to listen up to and get some information about how he starts his day. And specifically, Pete, I know you mentioned four routines that really get you, going in your day there. First and foremost, Pete, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I'm excited to be here.
So, Pete, you have this demeanor about yourself, very confident, very approachable, yet still very confident, like I said. And I think most people would agree you build rapport with others very easily. And I wanted to dive into creating that winning mindset that you talked about. And how do you do that? And if you can share about your four routines that you do every morning.
Well, I think mindset's really important. Mindset is what leads you into the day to succeed. I think a lot of people do have trouble at times with mindset because everybody has a conversation going on in their head that they focus on. It becomes their reality. For me, mindset, everything in business has always been a mindset game in a sense. And that's how I look at it. I totally subscribe to what you put out there is what you get back. And if you aren't disciplined with your mindset and you don't know how to flip the switch when things aren't going right, you're just going to keep going down that path where it just keeps escalating and snowballing in a sense. So I feel that mindset is super important, especially when it comes to starting your day in business and just getting in the right place, right? Having the right attitude of gratitude and just really starting off with a routine that keeps you on track and keeps you moving in the right direction is the best way to kind of put it. I always try to lead with being positive. At times it's challenging. I think everybody finds those challenges in life, and not every day is a great day. However, the people who are disciplined and have really good mindset know how to change it around and get back on track. And that's the most important thing that I see. A lot of people just kind of wing it, right? They don't have a routine. They don't get into the right mindset to have a winning day every day. That's the big thing.
Of course. So, and I hear what you're saying is just having that mindset, having that ability to pivot to, maneuver around challenge is what has, differentiated your success. It's enabled you to stay consistent even amidst, challenging times or maybe not so favorable moments. But you don't hold on to them. You don't stay there. You move past them. And one of the ways you do that is through your routines.
Yes.
And can you talk about those, like your inspiration, motive? So these are the ones you shared: inspiration, motivation, activation, and education.
Yeah. So every day, what I try to do is I try to get up at the same time consistently, just keep my clock on schedule. And look, there's days like anybody else, I'll want to hit the snooze button and so forth. But I force myself to get up and get my clock going. And I always start off with inspiration, right? So I watch something that's inspiring. I read something that's inspiring. And just to kind of get me going, it gets me into that attitude of gratitude. I am grateful for everything I have. And that's how I start my day right off the bat. What am I grateful for? What's going to inspire me today? How can I inspire others? And how can I bring more inspiration to my life and what I'm trying to do? Because my whole goal is to be in service to others. And if I'm not in the right mindset or I'm not in a positive, grateful attitude, then how can they be? So I start off with inspiration. A lot of times I'll watch a video on YouTube on Goalcast, or I'll listen to something very inspirational that gets me going, right? So that's the first step. So I always start off with inspiration. Then I go to meditation. I use a routine through a company called Centerpoint. And Centerpoint is a company that has a proven method that it kind of rewires your brain waves and how your brain works to stay more in a positive and calming fashion. And I'll be the first to admit that this is something I try to do consistently, and it doesn't always happen. So don't be hard on yourself. but
Mhm.
at least 10 to 15 minutes a day, I try to meditate. It's just finding a quiet place, asking the universe for what I need, and really being open to those to that energy or those answers that come to me. So that's I go inspiration, meditation. After meditation, I always do activation. Usually it's a workout routine. I worked out with the trainer this morning for an hour and a half. Sometimes it's just going for a walk with my dogs and just clearing my mind for the day. And
Mhm.
I think it's important to get your body moving, get hydrated in the morning. I think I read the other day that it's important not to drink any caffeine for the first 2 hours that you're awake. Just replenish with water and
Mhm.
lemon and things like that, just to rehydrate your body from sleeping, right? Because
Right.
you can get dehydrated while you sleep. So
Totally.
I try to hydrate, take a walk, work out, and I mix it up, right? But I always try to get my body in motion. And then after that, it's educate. I always try to read something in my field or something that applies to my field. It could be, I'm in luxury real estate. So it could be something to do with luxury lifestyle. It could be something that has to do with finances or the economy or interest rates or the actual real estate market, or where data is trending. So
Mhm.
I read at least a few articles on that just keeps me aware of where my industry is going and what can affect my industry. That's my morning routine in a nutshell. It's not that difficult, but I do feel that if you do that consistently and you really get in the right mindset, it's going to benefit you and it's going to start your day in the right momentum, in the right mindset.
Yeah, there's something powerful about starting your day consistently in the same way. It's almost like you're reassuring your lower mind, so to speak, to relax. Like, hey, this is something that we can take on versus, the primitive mind starts to go towards fear and things that are more primitive. Whereas the way you set up your day, you're able to reach higher, and you're able to spend your energy on the bigger things, the things that move the needle forward for your business and for your family, for your community.
100%. And I think that's really well said, because if you're not in the right mindset, or you're not coming in with a positive manner, or having some kind of direction,
Hmm.
then others pick up on that, right? Everything is a vibration, everything is energy, and people
Yes.
pick up on that energy. And what you put out there in the universe and what you ask for in the universe is what the universe is going to deliver to you. So if I'll give you an example, I hear all the time people saying, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds, or I want to lose 20 pounds, or I lost 10 pounds, or I lost 20 pounds.
Hmm.
Well, ultimately, what ends up happening is that weight comes back onto them, or they don't find a way to lose that weight, because really what they're asking the universe is, I lost something. Can you retrieve it for me? Can you bring it
Sure.
back to me? So,
Yes.
what I always say to people, you should use different vernacular on that, so
Hmm.
that your intent is in alignment with the universe. So I would say, I want to release 10 pounds, or I want to release 20 pounds, or I
Yes.
have released 10 pounds. So they don't bring it back to you. You've released it from your life. And I think a lot of people make, I don't want to say mistakes, but just the dialogue they have
Yes.
within their head every day and the things they say. I read an article the other day that 89% of people in our society always tend to gravitate towards negativity, right? It's
Hmm.
easier to gain an audience with negativity instead of positivity. But the
Yes.
problem is it's working completely against you, and it's something that isn't really what you want. So you have to really be aware of those conversations that you have with yourself every day. It's really easy to get down. It's really easy to lose your way, or not be in the right place. Go for a walk, reset, say some affirmations, say what you're grateful for. Look at the life we're leading compared to the majority of the population and how they live. And it's real easy to allow our ego or our subconscious to get in to our everyday life, where you're telling yourself you're not good enough, or you're not in the place you want to be.
Right.
Well, do something about it. Take action. have a plan and really look at it and say, what do I need to do to improve? What do I have to do on self improvement? And it's not a race, it's not a marathon, it's not a sprint. It's something that you have to do consistently over and over and over, where it turns into just part of your everyday. And if you can do that, you're going to win,
Hmm.
because it's really a game of you against you. How can you be the best version of yourself? How can you be a better version than you were yesterday? That's really what everybody's trying to do. However, we let all these outside forces and outside uh, negativity to come into play, that's constantly telling people subliminally, you're not good enough. You haven't achieved this, or you're not where you need to be. And it's tough. It's really, it weighs you down, right?
Yeah. Language is powerful. And is your internal dialogue now dialed into a point where you don't have any negative dialogue, or is it how far have you come? How did you start? Where did you start? And how were you able to kind of, okay, identify the dialogue that isn't advantageous to your growth, and then say, no, I'm not going to have that kind of conversation with myself, and then you substitute it, I imagine, and then I imagine that's what got you to where you are now.
Well, yeah, and that's a great question. We're all on our own journey. We're all on our own path to evolving or enlightenment, right? And
Hmm.
everybody's path is different. Everybody's journey is different. So I don't try to compare it to others. I don't try to compare myself to others. I just try to be in tune with their energy and their vibration. If somebody's negative around me, I just move away from them. The times that I find I'm going to the negative side, I try to focus on something that I've accomplished or something that's great in my life, just kind of switch that energy. And trust me, everybody has days that they're not in top form, they're not the top of their game. And
Hmm.
what's always amazed me about professional athletes and other people like that is their discipline. You have to have a lot of discipline where you're not in the mood to do what you want to do and you still do it at a high level.
Right.
A lot of that has to do with your mental mindset and your discipline and your commitment and so forth. Look, my business is a very challenging business at times, and it's also a business that brings incredible opportunity if you just look at it in the right light. If I came in every day and said nothing's happening, nobody's doing this, nobody's doing that, all that's going to happen, David, is I'm going to get more of that, right? That's going to
Hmm.
increase because what you focus on expands.
Expands.
And that's something that I've always looked at. And trust me, sometimes people have to put me in check because it's not
Hmm.
easy to constantly have a positive mentality or the right vibration. I run a really high intense team in real estate. Now, I can't do the work for everyone, but I can cheer them on and try to inspire them. And a lot of times when you're doing that, that takes up a lot of energy and a lot of commitment from within. So you have to be, as a leader, before you cross that threshold, you have to leave any drama or any distractions behind and really focus on and visualize what you want your best day to be today. I think I'd mentioned to you, I try to start every day at zero. I
Right.
don't look at what I have going. I don't look at what I've accomplished. I don't look at what I have for listings or an escrow or so forth. I try to look at it and say, okay, I have nothing right now. What do I need to do today to build it
Hmm.
to where I want to be? Start every day at zero. And then the other suggestion I would make to people is anything you want to attain in your life, definitely find gurus, find people that motivate you or inspire you. And the other practice that I've always done is I've always reverse engineered. I've always started from the end game. I visualize what I want to accomplish in the end and I work backwards and I
Hmm.
try to deconstruct it that way. That's what I always try to do.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think a lot of people
powerful.
have problems doing that.
Hmm.
They're challenged by that.
I mean, I think that that in itself is even a skill. I mean, working backwards and approaching it in that way is not always easy. And I think as a leader, you're a leader, and so, like you said, you have to. inspired team. You have to lead by example. And so I kind of want to go back to that. You know, you're filling your cup first, right? So that way you can pour into others. And that goes back to your mindset and to your routines. If you had something new to say to somebody who is having one of those bad days that you mentioned, right? And you've been there, I've been there, we've all been there. What's something that you could share with them, a practice, a technique, or even just an idea that may be able to pull them out of that slump, that abyss of of frustration and fear, possibly.
Well, that's a challenging question because you never know where somebody's coming from or where they're trying to go to. But I'd
Hmm.
say, first of all, don't be so hard on yourself. Love yourself. Second of all, look around and look for some good of what's happening around you, or something that you've already accomplished that you can, that makes you smile, right? It could be your children, your family, where you are in your path, because everything is planned out for you. It's all going to work out. And a lot of times people get caught up in the minutia of what's happening right now. So it's very easy to gravitate to victim mode, where somebody sits there and says, why is this happening to me? Right.
Hmm.
And it's really hard, and it's very tough to flip that switch and get out of that mindset, because when
Hmm.
you're in the victim mode, you don't realize a lot of times you're in the victim mode, and you want acknowledgement, or you want sympathy, or you want somebody to say, hey, it's going to be okay, or you want something out of it that flips the switch. But when you look at it, David, what you're doing is exact opposite of what you want to try to accomplish, right? What
Hmm.
you're trying to accomplish is, I want to get out of this mindset to achieve what I want to achieve, but I feel stuck and I feel like as if everything is happening to me.
Hmm.
So you have to flip that switch. Go for a walk, focus on your breathing, meditate, go do something fun.
Hmm.
And trust me, there's days that you're just not going to click with the environment that you need to be in. It's okay. Give yourself a pass. Go do something that you needed to do, or you wanted to, that makes you happy. I've always said to people, what does most people in our society, what makes them happy, right?
Hmm.
A lot of times it's instant gratification, or things that align or feed not only their ego, but it feeds their their soul, right? So
Hmm.
maybe it's going to a higher power and going to church,
Hmm.
or finding inspiration that way. Some people love to shop, right? It makes them happy. They get euphoric when they shop. You could do that. Some people get euphoric when they work out, go for a workout, or take a
Hmm.
day off, or walk on the beach, or sit on the beach, or read a book. It's whatever kind of nourishes your soul to say, hey, it's okay. I'm going to be okay. And let's start over tomorrow. And because otherwise, what can end up happening, especially in the economy and in the markets that we're in right now, is it snowballs. People tend to go to the victim mode and get into these negative states that bleed into the next day, then the next day, then the next day. And they go deeper, 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 deeper into a dark hole. Then they feel, I can't get out. That's when they need professional help. They need somebody who's a guru, or somebody to give them the tools to kind of come out of that. The best example I can give, it's like anything else in life. You can't just go to the gym and be at peak form or in the best shape of your life by going to the gym one time. It's
Right.
repetition. It's doing it over and over and over, and working those
Putting your reps in.
muscles, and
Yep.
getting your reps in. Right. Malcolm Gladwell with the tipping point. In order to really master something, you have to do it 10,000 hours. Right.
Right.
You have to do it 10,000 hours over and over and over and over and over. Because a lot of times in life, it's about showing up with the right mindset, inviting what you want, not blocking it, and doing it repetitiously. And if you do that, you're going to win.
Yeah. Or there's
Just
a
just out
compound
of,
effect.
yeah, just sheer compound effect of doing it. A lot of people say, why is it not happening for me today? And they go into
Hmm.
that mode. And I've certainly been guilty of that. And you need somebody close to you that you can confide in, to say, look, it's not that bad. Flip the switch.
Right.
You're not going to get what you want by focusing on what you're not getting.
Right.
Right? Think about that. It's
Yeah.
it's really important, and a lot of people don't realize that. They
Right.
think the more they focus on what they don't have or why it's happening to them, it's going to bring them to a different space to get what they want. And it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, I heard somewhere it said something like, a negative thought can't carry with it what you need, right? Doesn't carry with it the life you want. Like, you have to think about the things that you do want and the things that you
Mhm.
do have and be grateful. And this way of life, this way of living for you, has it always been this way because it's maybe the way a parent told you or showed you or you modeled after somebody, or is this something that you had to work on every day because you came from a place like maybe that wasn't instilled in you in an early age, right?
I think your journey is connected by a lot of different parts of your life, right? And most people, you learn from your parents or you learn from the people around you that you see them doing it every day. So that kind of instills in your soul. But there can be negatives there too, where a lot of times people don't have that reinforcement, or they don't have someone that's cheering them on, but criticizing them or
Mhm.
being, transferring onto them all the things that their parents told them or the limitations that they had. And it took me a long time to kind of block that out and really learn how to have certain tools to believe in myself, to not worry about other people's opinions, right?
Mhm.
Everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to tell you from their standpoint or their view what you can and you can't do. So a lot of times parents, their initial reaction is to guard you or to protect you. And it's not that they don't want you to succeed, they just don't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to
Yes.
feel pain. So
Mhm.
they're coming from a place of don't do that, or you can't do that, or I wouldn't try that. And the problem is it sets certain limitations that run deep in your soul that you need to unwind and you need to break out of those. Otherwise, you'll never live your true path or your true being. And I think that's really, really difficult. It took me years and years and years to try to get my ego and my subconscious under control, because a lot of that was already engineered inside of me, not because my parents were bad or other people around me. I have great, great parents. It's just they learned from their parents who learned from their parents that everything was limited,
Sure.
that you couldn't achieve everything that you set out to be. You had to watch this and be careful of that, and it sets certain boundaries. And I see this in a lot of people where they'll come in and they'll be their own worst enemy. They'll say, "Oh,
Sure.
they're not going to buy this house, or they're not going to do that." And I always say, "You know something? Wow, you must be a mind reader or a fortune teller. You're absolutely right. They're not going to do it. You know how I know they're not going to do it? Because you're telling me and you're telling the universe that they're not going to do it.
Right.
You
Right.
never know where it's going to go. Why don't you stay positive and say, I'm going to ask the universe right now. I feel that these people that I showed the house to, this is their path. They're going to make great memories. I can visualize them living in the house. I can visualize myself handing them the keys, them having a great life. And I feel this is the fit for them. And next thing you know, they call and say, "Hey, we've been thinking about, we want to buy that house." Everything is mapped out in the universe. Everything is mapped out for you. And the most challenging and difficult thing to do is when it's not going according to plan, is having the discipline to step back and say, this is happening for a reason that is not within my control.
Mhm.
And I don't need to control everything. I had
Sure.
a saying this year that I really embraced, and it was, I'm not responsible for the success of all the other people around me. Because what I would do is I'd pour my energy into them in my
Mhm.
vibration, and they would still be coming from a negative standpoint, or they wouldn't put in the work.
Sure.
And I said, why is it my responsibility to handle everything that they project on me when all I'm in control of is really my path, right?
Right.
And that's
Right.
it. And that's what good leaders do. Leaders lead. That's why they're called leaders.
Right.
They understand how to lead. They don't do the work for them, they don't carry them. They try to inspire them and motivate them. And then if somebody puts in the work and they have the right energy or the right vibration, they'll pick up on that and that'll resonate with them and lift them up to a higher level. If they don't, they don't. And a
Mhm.
lot of people out there are unevolved. A lot of people are on a path here in our civilization or our world um, that will never evolve.
Right.
They're here not to evolve. And a lot of times, those are lessons that we can learn and we can connect to our life on what to do and what not to do. You know, there's lessons in every situation. You just have to look in between the lines to understand the lessons and then apply them to your life. And
Mm.
that's how you evolve. That's how you grow. And that's what I believe in.
Pete, you're a passionate man. I feel it. I can hear it. I've seen it. And it's been such a blessing to hear all these beautiful memories, all these beautiful stories, all these beautiful, just way mindset and way of being, way of existing. As you evolve, because you already have that mindset. I'm always learning. I'm always growing. So you're always evolving. In the stage of your life, what is making you uh, the happiest right now? Like, what part of your life is just bringing you an immense amount of gratitude?
I mean, I think the normal answer on that is my kids, of
Mm,
course, because you get to kind of relive your childhood and so forth in a lot of different ways. That brings me the most immense gratitude and happiness. But I'd also say how I'm evolving not only in my life as an individual, but in my life within myself. And what I mean by that is I feel that I'm evolving. I feel that I'm a
mhm.
work in motion. You know,
Yeah.
all I'm trying to be is better than the guy that I saw in the mirror yesterday. And I'm going to continue to do that each and every day and just try to be nice to myself and kind to myself and not hard on myself. I think when you're a driver, it's tough because there's a lot of self doubt that can come in your mind.
True.
And that self doubt, you have to know how to counter that because it will tell you you're not good enough. It'll tell you you haven't accomplished enough. It'll tell you you don't have enough things, right? But we're not judged based on things. We're judged based on the light and the vibration that we bring into other people's lives and how that
Mm,
affects their lives and their path and their journey. Because at the end of the day, there's no ATMs in the ground, and people don't care how much money you had because it didn't affect their life necessarily. It might have
mhm,
indirectly if you donated a lot of money or inspired somebody that way. But really, what people look at is and reflect upon is what type of impact did you have on their life moving
right.
forward? Did you help them be a better person? Did you help them or their family get to a different place? And that's what it really comes down to. And that's what I'm constantly working on. I have people that I talk to and like I said, I'm a work in motion, right? I'm not
Sure.
trying to compare myself to anybody else. And if people are around me that are negative or hard on me or whatever, I take notice of it, and sometimes the most powerful response is say nothing and just move on
Mm,
and limit your, and I think this is very powerful. Sometimes you have to limit your accessibility.
mm,
You don't need to be accessible to everyone and anyone at any time. I think
right.
sometimes you need self-reflection and you need time where you really guard your true time. Otherwise you'll feel overextended and you'll never achieve what you want to achieve because everybody else will suck up your time, if
Totally.
that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Pete, thank you for giving us access today and just sharing, your journey, your story, and where you're going next. It's very inspiring. This episode is literally exactly why I do this, just to share this information so others can gain it, the inspiration they need, the techniques they can incorporate into their day, so that way they can grow, that way they can learn, they can progress and become a better version of themselves. So thank you so much, Pete, for being on the show today. I can't thank you enough.
Dave, thanks for inviting me. I'm super grateful and it's a great show. And I think it's going to benefit a lot of people if they just apply what they learn. You know,
Mm,
they have to make it their own.
yes. Well, I'd love to have you back on again on a different day. Dive in. You talked about a lot of things, which is great because I want to give them as much information as possible to all the viewers and listeners. But maybe we can dive into some specifics at a later episode.
Would love to. And
All
just
right.
remember, some of the greatest fulfillment in life is winning through others.
Mm, I love that.
All right.
Pete, you're the man. Appreciate you so much.
Thanks, David. Have a
Uh,
great day.
all right.
Thanks
You
so much.
likewise. All right. Blessings, man.
All right.
Bye.